And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to another week, another edition here of the PondCast episode 51, your weekly dose of all things StarCraft. I'm, of course, Joseph VIP. With me, I'm joined by these amazing topic lists that we have ahead of us by the people in chat, and of course by our lovely producer as well. Shout out to producer Kuro 60,000 working behind the scenes to make sure everything stays afloat and nothing does catch fire. But here we go. We are back, and there's quite a lot that's been going on here. Alas, we have had so much in regards to GSL, Cheeseadelphia, of course, all of our regular online tournaments as well. And of course, some news has been announced regarding EWC, regarding TLMC as well. There's a lot to go over. There's a lot to indulge in. Again, this is your weekly podcast here where we go over all things StarCraft, whether it's tournament results, whether it's adjacent news as well. Let's go. Let us go. First things first, we do have a new ruling here, an official ruling regarding Firefly. Now, if you were tuning in a couple of weeks ago, you will know that we did discuss Firefly and the fact that Firefly, he was found to be match fixing. Of course, Jim, the Chinese Protoss player, did come out and did divulge that he was, of course, involved in match fixing, that Firefly was involved as well. There was a very in-depth post that was created going over some of the details, showing chat logs as well in regards to what did occur between the two of them. Very, very frustrating, very sad news to be heard, especially considering Firefly had qualified for EWC. He had qualified from the Chinese region, from the Asia region, and that's actually one of the reasons why Jim, he went live about it. That's one of the reasons why Jim did decide to go public regarding all the match fixing that was happening, and because of that, we have now got an official ruling. It was a little bit in flux, it was a little bit uncertain whether or not there would be official ruling regarding this. We didn't know if EWC were made aware. Looks like they were, and they have since come out regarding Esports World Cup. Regarding Firefly. And Firefly, he is barred from the tournament, he is barred from the Esports World Cup, and as a result, Lancer, who came in second place, the runner-up, he will take Firefly's spot instead at the Esports World Cup.
I just want to clarify that specifically the wording is that Firefly is suspended pending finalization of the investigation, so they are kind of leaving it open. Just to be clear.
He is suspended, but they did announce Firefly is removed from StarCraft 2, the StarCraft 2 event at EWC, and Lancer is going to be replacing him. So, I mean, again, it's one of those things where suspended most likely means that he's going to be suspended from future EWC events as well until there's another update regarding this. So, for the time being, there is a chance that potentially Firefly could return for a future EWC event in 2026 onwards, but that, I guess for the time being, the suspension is going to be regarding future years in EWC. So with that, we have confirmation. So Lancer is going to be taking his place. And yeah, I mean, at least now we are fully aware. Now we're fully aware of what's been going on. This was a bit of a, again, we were not sure if EWC would actually hear from this, would actually be made aware of this. But yeah, we now have confirmation. As we have confirmation, we're going to be heading over into our next big piece of news here regarding the Team Liquid map contest. Now, if you recall, in regards to the previous TLMC, Wax Angel, he did clarify that they were creating a system in regards to almost like automate this in regards to which maps to include, which maps not to include, and how to rotate, how to pick maps in regards to the 1v1 portion of TLMC. So we do know that future TLMCs are going to be occurring, or I think there's a high chance that they should be occurring in regards to the 1v1 ladder map pool. Something that caught us a little bit off guard though, which I mean is actually going to be quite fitting to some of the news that we have later on in regards to 2v2, is that we now have once again a Team Liquid map contest for team maps for 2v2, 3v3, and 4v4. Now this did receive a TLMC a couple of years ago, not too long ago. We had like a team game map contest, and we were able to refresh the team ladder map pool as well. But there are still maps there that have been around for like 10 years. Like, unironically, there's some very old maps in the current team ladder map pool that have been around for a very, very long time, and it's about time we refresh that. So it's great to see that Monster Energy are still sponsoring, that Team Liquid are still, or TL, they're still, of course, organizing, and there is going to be a Team Liquid map contest for team maps for 2v2, 3v3, and 4v4. So very exciting. And this also does bode well that they do plan on running this for at least the near future. for at least in the near future. Again, as we mentioned, like Wax Angel, he already went down he already explained his own thought process as to how to automate certain things for future TLMCs. So it was already assumed that there would be future Team Liquid map contests. He spoke about the system of implementing the maps into the in-game system as well, and how they were trying to facilitate for that and make it as streamlined as possible. So again, steps already made in regards to that. So we already assumed there was going to be another one. But this further confirms that yes, there's still future TLMCs, there's still future support for creating maps, for creating new maps, and revitalizing the map pool as well. So I'm excited to see when a future 1v1 map or Team Liquid map contest is announced. For now, though, we do have the 2v2 or the team game map pool soon to be revitalized. Of course, there are some guidelines, there are suggestions. Likewise, you can also have a look at the current ladder maps as well. And yeah, it's definitely going to be a lot of fun. And
I have another note. It actually says in the text that currently the goal is to execute a map rotation in late autumn. So if you're looking forward to that, that's where the plan is right now. However, that can of course get delayed because of the issues with uploading maps currently. So, it's not like 100% confirmed, but that's the plan.
Yes, that is going to be the plan. There are already the dates for the submission phase. They are open. It does close next month in July 13th. And then we have the playtesting and judging phase thereafter. Something that this is going to impact, of course, in the future are tournaments that do feature team games, and that has been on the rise as of late. Shout out to Wardy. Wardy last year, he was running his own monthly team game tournaments. That was during the off season, and hey, the off season is upon us, right? The off season is right around the corner. EWC has snuck up on us as well. Like, it's all coming to a head, and when the off season starts up again, that's when most likely we can see organizers like Wardy once again running those tournaments during that off season as a way to decompress, as a way to have a little bit of fun outside of the EWC circuit. So again, there's that, of course, and also Euthermal has been very successful with crowdfunding his own 2v2 initiative, and getting a new map pool here is a good way to once again inject life into that. Of course, we're still working through that 2v2 circuit, and there's still more news to come regarding that as well. But when it comes to a future season, this bodes well, ideally lined up with the new map pool. So again, exciting times, exciting things upon us in regards to the team game ladder map pool, or team games in general. So good to hear. Good news here in regards to that. Meanwhile, again, we do have our tournaments. Speaking of team games, speaking of other events going on in StarCraft, we do have the SCL StarCraft Evolution Code A number 6. And I believe this is the first... I was going to say that. If I recall correctly, there is going to be a new system being implemented in regards to how to kind of cut this tournament off from players that do place too highly. Basically, in the history of StarCraft Evolution Code A, there has been one that has risen amongst the rest, Prome. Prome, he has won so many of these, and they noticed that there was a bit of dominance being shown there, and there weren't many others that were able to have opportunity to really showcase themselves. And because of that, they did actually go over the rule set, and now they have added a bit of a disclaimer, a bit of an extra rule in regards to eligibility for this tournament. And you can see here, players are now ineligible not just for their MMR, not just in placements in offline tournaments, but also if they place top 8 in StarCraft Evolution League in the most recent SELs, so StarCraft Evolution League proper, and also top 4 in any subsequent StarCraft Evolution League tournament as well. I believe that is for the main event. So basically, if they do place highly, if they perform well in the main StarCraft Evolution League tournament, even if they have less MMR in StarCraft 2, even if they have no accolades in offline tournaments, they are going to be ineligible for Code A. And I do think this is a long time coming. It was a system that's definitely a bit of a, in a way, almost like a bit of a loophole here in regards to how players can advance and things of that nature. So, and I think they're still going over the ineligibility as well. I think they're open to suggestions as to how to bar players or how to approach things. So yeah, there's definitely interesting to see, and we'll see how the requirements evolve over time for StarCraft Evolution. Meanwhile, we have Code A. We do have Prome. I mean, I just brought him up. Prome, he is usually the champion. He is one to typically win these tournaments, but we had a bit of an odd occurrence here. Prome, he toured Monte. He 3-0'd Zardiant, and again, Prome's favorite to win the entire tournament, but apparently he was MIA. Apparently, after the semifinals, he was missing in action. They could not find him. Hopefully, everything's okay, but Prome, he was not available to compete. Otherwise, I'll be honest, he probably would have won. Probably would have won. In the end, though, he was not found, and Zardiant was able to advance onto the finals, and the finals is actually a close series. They actually went all the way to the ace match. Best of 5 between Zardiant and Zardiant and Kot. So maybe for the better, hard to say. It's one of those things where I'll be honest, Prome probably would have 3-0'd. Like Prome, he's a very dominant force in the SEL Code A kind of tournament scene. So he's definitely favored to have a deep run there. Regardless, Kot did claim the win in the end. It took down Lelix, took down DeWalt, and took down Zardiant in the finals. GG. GG, well played. Congratulations to Kot, and hopefully we get to see more Prome in the future. And again, I look forward to seeing how well Prome does perform in StarCraft Evolution proper, and also the main event as well. Best of luck. I think on over that leads us into our team game tournaments. That leads us into the 3D Clan SE Evo 2v2 show match. It's one of those things where the CIS region has been embracing the StarCraft Evolution League kind of format quite a lot, including 2v2s as well, and they have been hosting their own tournaments, but here it looks like they had a show match instead. Not a proper event like they have had in the past, not a proper like bracket, I should say. Instead, a show match, a best of 7 between Bratok and MidWK versus Zardiant and Cygnus. Again, Bratok and MidWK, they've been streaming a lot together. They do so much content together. They haven't just been playing in this, they've been playing Euthermal's 2v2 circuit as well, also as a duo. And in the end, they do claim the win, 42. GG. GG will play. They do claim that win in the end. Again, this was in StarCraft Evolution, not in regular SC2. But regardless, well played nonetheless. Congratulations here to Bratok and MidWK. They take the win. They take the win. Again, I would say they're one of the stronger teams in said region. I say one of the stronger, of course. I still look at Shameless and GG Machine as the strongest. I mean, Wayne and Milky Cow as well. For whatever reason, like, again, a lot of those players do compete a lot in 2v2, and we look forward to seeing more of them in the future in the 2v2 circuit. As that leads us over into the BH or BGH, the Big Game Hunters SCL Season 10 Division S playoffs here, as that has concluded. I do recall this actually took a while to really get going. It looks like it took a week to actually progress, and I was pleasantly surprised to see that there was a scene for this for Big Game Hunters. In my mind, it was always just an event off to the side, something fun to dip your toes into, but it looks like there is a competitive scene for it. Not the biggest scene, but a scene nonetheless, and really cool to see Nihed, he does claim the win, 4-0 over Greenert in the grand finals. Dominant performance. He did have a back and forth against Ledlix, he did have more back and forth against Minizerg as well, but he does claim the win. Shout out to Greenert. I know that Greenert, he's been devoting a lot of time to these other game modes, whether it's StarCraft Evolution, whether it's Big Game Hunters. Does well for himself, making it to the finals. GG. GG well played. Shout out to Nihed as well. Bearing in mind, there's also other divisions. There's Division A, B, and C for lower rated players in regards to MMR. In the end, Baumsbaum does take down Doomrat 4-1. Another player we're familiar with when it comes to our own online tournaments. So GG well played. Likewise, we have Bisu. Oh my god. American Bisu takes down Spoon 4-0 in the finals of Division B, and then we have Beach Cat take down Toon Dragon 4-2 in Division C. Shout out to Beach Cat as well. Congratulations to our Big Game Hunter champions, and we look forward to seeing more of this in the future. Again, this is apparently Season 10. They've been running this regularly, and yeah, we'll see if our regulars here make their reprisal. We'll see if we get some new competitors rising in as well, because the prize pool's pretty hefty. Like, not gonna lie, $200 for Code S is pretty damn hefty, and we even have big prize pools for the other divisions as well. So really cool to see the support for Big Game Hunters. That leads us into our amateur events here for regular 1v1 StarCraft 2. First things first, we do have the 2025 Season 2 Major Tournament. Interesting. Is this the main event? Maybe Kuro can let us know here. But we've had these. Okay, because typically this is just the like the amateur league, right?
Yes, this is part of the amateur league, and all I can say is that this one actually has a prize pool, so maybe that is the main event.
Yeah. Yeah. So if there's a prize pool for this, then it does lend us to believe that, okay, this is probably the main event that players have been accumulating points for. So players have been invited for said event.
So yes,
End of
Sugarcoat
season,
is
top 8 of
confirming
points
in the
gathered.
chat that it is the end of season.
Yeah, so there we go. So again, for the entire season, these players have been accumulating points. So we have our top 8 in the end for the initiate version of this tournament. That is for players between the leagues of Bronze and Platinum. We do have Your Edge. Your Edge does take the win 4-0 over Flesh to become this season's initiate champion. So congratulations. Meanwhile, we had Ragnar claiming 4th place. We had Flaps taking 3rd place. Third place as well. And of course, Flesh taking 2nd. So congratulations to our top players here of the season. GG. Likewise, that leads us into the veteran edition of the major tournament. We do have our top 8 players. We had Glacius, Blade of Fire. We had M the Great, Balimko. We had Nelsdog, player that I recognize. We had Talbarim, Old Lady as well. Looks like maybe we didn't quite get a final 8th player invite. But in the end, M the Great does take the win 4-2 over Taldarim, claiming 1st place. Taldarim coming in 2nd. We had Blade of Fire coming in 3rd, and Old Lady coming in 4th. GG. So congratulations again. This was for the leagues of Diamond 3 and Diamond 2. That leads us into the prestige version of this tournament. We have our top 8. We have Beast, Defiance, Arez, Milka. We have Dizzy Dwarf, Anatar. We have Steez and Set. Again, all these players are regulars in our tournaments. We do recognize plenty of them. And we have Beast. If you recall, Beast has been having a hard time against Dizzy Dwarf as of late. I want to say for the past 3-4 tournaments, Dizzy Dwarf has been getting the better of Beast, but not this time, not when money is on the line. Beast, he does go full beast mode, does claim the win 4-0. A very impressive result there. Looks like it was actually a 3-0 and a walkover in the final game. Regardless, does take the 4-0 over Dizzyworth, and likewise, we had some other one-sided series here. We had Adez 3-0 over Set as well, so some more one-sided matches, but regardless, congratulations to Beast. Congratulations. That leads us over into the Elite version of the major tournaments. We do have the top GM players. The top GM players, we had Miss Crimson, we had Ateshi, we had Undertaker, Inexorable, Cobblestone, Fair Spitter, Nico, and Ericon as well. Coming into this, I was going to say Inexorable, he is going to be coming as a clear heavy favorite. Does claim the win 2-0 over Undertaker, 3-0 over Miss Crimson, and 4-0 over Cobblestone. Does claim the win, does take that 1st place. Meanwhile, shout out to Cobblestone for 2nd place, shout out to Nico for 3rd, and Miss Crimson for 4th. GG, well played. As that does wrap up this season of the Amateur League. Again, the Amateur League, they go through seasons, through these eras, and we should be working on the next season next time as well. Again, it shows that even though the weeklies don't really have any prize money, they do give you points for this kind of big playoffs final event, so definitely worth competing in. And if you happen to be more of an amateur player, if you happen to be between the leagues of Bronze all the way to GM, if you want to take part, if you want to compete with others that are close to your skill level, then do consider taking part in the Amateur League. GG well played. Speaking of amateur tournaments, that leads us into the Duckling Open SDO number 135. That is our regular monthly Bronze to Diamond tournament. We do have some of our regulars here. We had some newer faces as well. We had Luca, actually, again, a fresher face in the scene, competing for the first time, does take down Tier 2-0, Horse Radish 2-0, Captain Fish 2-0, but in the grand finals against Big Daddy, went all the way to the Ace match. Despite having that 1-point advantage, did go all the way to Game 5, so a very intense back and forth. Big Daddy had to work his way through the lower bracket. He got knocked down early on by Captain Fish, then he took down Tier, Battle Pants, Captain Fish in the rematch, and then, of course, went all the way to the Ace match in the finals as well. So really cool to see that much competition here and that much tenacity between our two players. Big Daddy, he was also a new player. He was also a new player to our league. So great to see 2 newer faces to the CranKy Ducklings, to see Duckling Open. So hopefully we get to see more of them in the future, and we might even see them graduate into MSO. For now, though, GG well played. Shout out to Luca. That leads us into the Passioncraft Emerging Stars number 20. This is a tournament that is restricted to those that are 5.5k MMR and below. And this is where Inexorable typically thrives. There we go. Inexorable does take the win here. Similar plays that we saw previously in the Amateur League. We had Inexorable taking down Cobblestone 3-2, as they also faced off in that tournament as well. So congratulations there to Inexorable, but it went to the ace match. Also went all the way to game 5. Shout out to the other competitors. We had Mr. L, we had Eno, we had Kossia, we had Maro, Duckling, and of course Nihed as well. So congratulations to Inexorable as it does claim the win. Again, when it comes to the Passioncraft Emerging Stars tournament, this is a way to be invited to be seeded and to make it into the OSC Elite Rising Star as well, which will be taking place in the future, in a year. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. At some point in the future, but congratulations to Inexorable. That leads us over into the Thermal 2v2 Circuit May Edition. Again, we spoke about 2v2 earlier. We spoke about that the changes that are upcoming when it comes to the map pool and the map rotations. But here we had our monthly tournament. And bearing in mind that this was the, I believe, final monthly before the main event, there is going to be a last chance qualifier that is going to be actually in a couple of days, if not tomorrow. So this is going to be a last chance qualifier for the main 2v2 circuit, but this was the final monthly tournament. And here, yo, Uwu Thermal popped off. It was crazy. I mean, there was a lot going on at the time. We spoke about it during our coverage of this event, but we had the replacement man Showtime kind of being thrown around a little bit here. Basically, for those that remember, typically when it comes to duos or when it comes to pairings here, Lambo, he typically plays with Harstem, but whenever Harstem's not around, we've seen Showtime kind of fill his shoes. Likewise, Spirit is usually with MaxPax. Whenever MaxPax isn't around, Showtime fills his shoes. And here, a Laser is usually with Skillous. Not this week, as Skillous, he was actually competing in Sparkling Tunic Cup. This actually clashed with the finals of STC, where Skillous was in the finals against Bjorn, and it went all the way to the ace match. Skillous did win, by the way. He did claim the win. Though because he was competing in Tunic Cup, it meant that he couldn't play in this, and Showtime filled in for Skillous. So Showtime, he is the replacement man. He's replaced MaxPax, Harstem, and now Skillous as well. So he's just replacing everyone. He's a damn good player, don't get me wrong. But it also means that there's a little bit less cohesion at times with him and his teammates. I don't think he has as much experience, depending on, or with, you know, a Laser, Lambo, Spirits. Like it's kind of someone new every week for Showtime. And Showtime, this time he does pair up with a Laser. Meanwhile, because there was no Harstem or Showtime, Lambo had to find another partner. And for the first time, Lambo paired up with Kellizer, with Diego. Very exciting to see Diego playing once again, this time with Lambo. An interesting pairing. In the end, we did have Euthermal and Goblin taking down a Laser and Showtime 2-0. They took down Wayne and Milky Cow 2-0 as well, and they went all the way up against Spirit and MaxPax in the finals. And for the first time in the history of 2v2, Spirit and MaxPax don't win the tournament. Again, Spirit and MaxPax, for those that are unaware of this format, or for those that maybe don't watch 2v2 tournaments, Spirit and MaxPax, they are the best players in the world. They're the best duo in the world when it comes to 2v2. You do not get better than Spirit and MaxPax. They win every single tournament that they play in, except for this one. Euthermal and Goblin, they popped off. This also coincides with Goblin's recent skill, as Goblin, of course, he did recently pop off in the EWC European qualifiers, so Goblin has been looking like a beast, and Euthermal as well. He was locked in. Euthermal, he was locked in, Bappy, and they do claim the win 3-2 over Spirit and MaxPax. Crazy result. Crazy win. GG. GG, well played. And again, that was the final big event, the final monthly before the main event did begin. I don't mind actually going over... I guess next time. I was going to say I don't mind going over the main event results and the standings, but I think it would make the most sense next week after that last chance qualifier. Again, there's one final qualifier in a couple of days to determine the final players to actually make it into the main event. So next week, we'll have that update and we'll have that main circuit to go over. So we'll catch up next time. We'll catch up next week with the Euthermal 2v2 main circuit. But again, congratulations to Goblin and Euthermal. That wasn't just them beating MaxPax and Spirit for the first time. It was also them winning for the first time. Like, that was their first win for the 2v2 main circuit. So exclamation mark rigged in the chat, clearly. Clear. They paid us off to take care of Skillous, so he had to play in our tournament. Likewise, Clem had to play in Wardy tournament as well, so Clem wasn't available. Like, it all lined up. Cap. That leads us into another 2v2 tournament. into the Zerg Cup 2v2. We spoke earlier about how the CIS region has been running a lot of these team game tournaments as of late in StarCraft Evolution. Looks like in regular 2v2 as well. But and Mindo VK, they actually won the show match earlier, and that was almost a prelude to this, where they also claimed the win in this tournament as well. Now, I want to say here that we are missing a pairing of players. I say that. I was going to say Wayne and Milky Cow. I rate them quite highly. They got knocked out earlier in the tournament. Likewise, so did Gigi Machine and Shameless. And instead, we had the Protoss duo of Deathmars and Gref. That is a cheesy duo. Gref, known for only cannon rushing and only cheesing. Deathmars, likewise, is also an aggressive player. So an interesting duo there of Gref and Deathmars, and they actually went to the ace match. They went all the way to the ace match in the upper bracket finals and in the grand finals as well. So really cool to see them popping off and also holding their own against the more infamous duo of Barathok and Mindo VK. GG well played. In the end, Barathok and Mindo VK, they claimed the win, but it was closer than I otherwise thought. Congratulations to our duo, to our pairing, and I wish them the best in regards to future 2v2 tournaments, including the SC2 circuit. That leads us into our next set of matches, the Stormy Cup number 22. Again, this is a tournament that did actually return recently. Did go on a very, very long hiatus, and did recently mark its return. Looks like the event did take place, and there was a 4-0 in favor of Mindo VK. Unfortunately, again, sign-ups and participation has been quite low for this event. I am hoping that in the future we are able to get some more representation here. Regardless, Mindo VK winning not just in 2v2s, but in 1v1s as well. He's cleaning up, he's cleaning house. GG well played. That leads us into the Chicken King Team League 2025 spring regular season. It looks like the season has concluded in regards to the round robin group stage. We have confirmation. The final round did conclude. We had Little Fairy taking down Rookie Warpgate 4-2. This time they bring in the big guns. We were criticizing Little Fairy last week for not showcasing and not bringing players like Percival to the table. This time, they bring him in. Percival comes in. Shameless comes in. They take their wins. Little Fairy does take down Rookie Warpgate. Likewise, PCEC also get the win over Toho Project. Mixu 1-1 against Compass. Oh, okay. So we have some competition there, but regardless, PCC does take the win. We have Starlight Twinkle over Team Hist, with Young Zest taking on his opponents. We had Jolly Loves and TATP tied 1-1. We had Knight and his opponent tied 1-1 as well. So it did come down to Young Zest does take the win. And that leads us into the final series, Elpis versus Team IW. We had tied scorelines between Oriana and his opponent. We had a 2-0 in favor of Moku. We had Lemon take down Ghost Runner 2-0, went all the way to the ace match where SCV did come in to clean house to take that win. I'm a little bit surprised to not see SCV in the main rotation, actually. That does catch me off guard, but regardless, does take the win, does win the ace match. Congratulations here. And that means that we do have our confirmed teams for the playoffs. Heading on over here for the playoffs, we do have our top 4 teams. We have Starlight Twinkle. We have Starlight Twinkle waiting in the grand finals. They are seeded directly into the finals. We have PCEC seeded into the semifinals, and we have our starting roster, our starting teams. It is going to be Team Elpis or Elpis Esports team versus Team Hist in the quarterfinals. They are scheduled to compete to play their matches in over a week's time. So next time you see us, we might actually have a lineup to go over. Like, there might be a lineup listed ahead of time, so we could go over that next week. Otherwise, in around 9 days' time, they're going to be facing off. So best of luck to our playoffs teams and to our top players here and top teams in the Chicken King Team League. Best of luck. As that leads us over into the Sunrise Cup 203. That leads us into our Chinese weekly tournaments. And we do have Nanami. Nanami Chiaki does take down Smile 2-0, takes down his semifinals opponent 2-1, and does get a walkover over Yana. Hold on. I want to double check something here, because this is not the first time. I want to say we've gotten like 3 or 4 walkovers with Oriana. Like, I don't know what it is, but some things do line up in such a way with Oriana. He's often not able to actually compete. Yeah, I'm just checking here. Oriana, he did forfeit in Sunrise Cup number 200. We saw that Oriana, he forfeited, in Sunrise Cup number 199 as well. Oriana did compete in Sunrise Cup 201, but it looks like, at least specifically for the time of this tournament, Oriana's not always available. Yep, Oriana, he also forfeited in the finals of 198 as well. Ay, ay, ay. So, yeah, hopefully everything's okay, whether it's the specific time or something, maybe something else. But yeah, there's been a lot of forfeits regarding Oriana, and he's not always there to compete. And it's become a regular occurrence in Sunrise Cup specifically. So in the end, Nanami does get the win, the walkover win over Oriana. Oriana even played Protoss in the semis. Interesting. Did even off race, but again, does forfeit in those finals. So congratulations to Nanami, and again, hopefully everything's okay from the side of Oriana. As it does wrap up our Sunrise Cup. That leads us into the Super 7 number 46. This is a show match, a best of 7 show match between SOS and Percival. Okay, I do actually really like this lineup because I do think they're quite close in skill. SOS, of course, recently returning and devoting time to StarCraft, but still trying to rise through the ranks. I do think that, yeah, he's a good match for Percival, and they go all the way to the ace match, all the way to game 7. Very close, very back and forth. I could have seen this going either way. In the end, congratulations to SOS. Does take down Percival just barely 4-3. GG. GG, well played. Congratulations here to SOS. Does claim the win. That leads us into our OSC tournaments. So we do have the OSC Elite Rising Star number 15 coming up next. We have some updates. Which updates did we get?
Okay, hold on. Hold on.
Yeah, let's go.
Opening the thingy.
It's hard to keep track because sometimes it's like maybe 1 or 2 matches.
Yeah,
like
it's like matches from like different rounds as well. Because I actually went through the list last night and like it was like, oh, 1 match here, 1 match there, you know. So it's a little bit difficult to keep track of.
Yeah, it's a little bit chaotic. But we do have some updates, I'm sure. This is when we find out there was 0 updates in the bracket.
Okay, so actually, I'm just gonna send you the list. It's easier.
Okay. Okay.
Because I have to find them on the bracket as well. Because as I said, I looked at the bracket. It's like a little bit everywhere. There you go. That's the list.
Okay, so we had Night Phoenix versus Hydra. Just double checking here. I believe that was in the.
That's the upper bracket. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. We actually covered that last time, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, some of it we did, so I'm not sure what happened there, but yeah.
Yeah. And why do we have some TBDs? That's regardless. Night Phoenix does take down Hydra 2-1. Likewise, Jumi takes down Night Phoenix 2-1 as well. I'm pretty sure we covered that last time, but updates regardless. So Jumi does take down Night Phoenix in the end, does advance on offensive against Percival. Percival does fall to Jumi 2-1 as well. Big win there for Jumi. Again, we just covered Percival going back and forth against SOS, but here Jumi does bring him down. Likewise, we had some updates regarding Milky Cow. Milky Cow takes down Pappy 2-0, takes down Nickrect 2-1. Very clutch, very close back and forth there between Milky Cow and Nickrect. And we have Jumi versus Milky Cow in the upper bracket finals. So we do have some progression. We are nearing the conclusion of this tournament, but I spoke too soon because we still have the lower bracket as well. In that lower bracket, we had Young Yakov. He got a walkover over Lewis, going up against Bay Marine in the next round. UD Soldier takes on Art 2-0. We still have Moja versus Inexorable. I want to say that's a big win for Moja, actually. He 2-0's Mixu. Damn, big win there for Moja. Takes down Mixu 2-0. Inexorable takes down Art 2-1. That is the Polish Art, by the way. So big win there for Inexorable. Shameless 2-0's Hydra and Arrowfire walkover over Iroh. Do recall that update was already there last week. We do have some updates regardless, and players are being knocked out. And we still have a ways to go here. Again, that lower bracket, there's still a lot of matches ongoing. There's still a lot of progression there. So even though we're ready in the upper brackets, the lower bracket still has a lot to go through. So best of luck. Best of luck to all the players. And when it comes to upcoming matches, honestly, Bay Marine versus Young Yakov looks spicy, papi. Inexorable versus Moja. Shameless versus Arrowfire. Some very, very clutch, very close matches there. Best of luck to all those competing in the OSC Elite Rising Star. GG. GG will play. That leads us into the OSC King of the Hill. This was covered by us last week. As a reminder, typically Steadfast has covered these events, but we did step in this week and last week as well, as we do have OSC King of the Hill scheduled to begin later on this evening. We are going to be getting into that. But here we had an interesting turn of events. Jimmy takes down Hydra 1-0, takes down Demi, takes down MidVK, takes down Moja. But Jimmy was unavailable to keep competing. Jimmy, he was unavailable. Unfortunately, something came up, so he had to step away. Technically, Jimmy goes through undefeated. Undefeated Jimmy. Shameless and Sebestis, they step into the ring. Shameless takes down Sebestis. Shameless takes down Art. Percival, he goes on a tear himself, taking down Shameless, Mixu, Creator, and Night Phoenix. Big wins there for Percival. He does take down some big names in Creator. And then Bjorn was able to take it from there. Bjorn took down Percival, Yudi Soldier, Milky Cow, Nickrat, and Eva. As Eva did play Protoss. And I'll be honest, Eva versus Bjorn PvT was very close. To be honest, like Eva, he had some very, very good engagements. He was able to outposition and take better fights over Bjorn as well. It was a very intense back and forth on Pylon. In the end, Bjorn did overwhelm, but that was an intense series. I was very impressed by Eva's Protoss. After that, I remember Eba, he did message us and did let me know that he feels pretty confident in his Protoss and feels like he can definitely take it to Bjorn, and we might be seeing more of Eba's Protoss in the future. It's possible we might be seeing more of it as he's been enjoying a little bit more Protoss as of late. Este Eba. Shaking my head. That leads us into the OSC midseason playoffs number 1. We have been getting some more progression here in regards to this event. This is where I do cut to. There we go. This is where we do have some updates here in regards to the matches. We had Art versus Rebellion. Oh, I believe that was in the lower brackets, but Art versus Rebellion did go the way of Art in the end. So Rebellion has been knocked out of the tournaments there in the lower brackets. There we go. Does take him down. We had Homono versus Jomek. Homono takes down Jomek 2-0, so Jomek is now out. We had Shameless versus Luna C. Luna C takes down Shameless. Big win there for Luna C. Very impressive. I would say an upset. Like, I would say that Shameless was favored to go on a deep run in this tournament, but Luna C knocks him out early in the PvP. We had Milky Cow versus GG Machine. GG Machine also takes out Milky Cow 2-1. I would say another big upset. Again, these are in the first rounds of the low bracket. These are big names being eliminated early here. And Milky Cow and Shameless. Likewise, we had Moja versus Hydra. Moja takes down Hydra 2-1. We did have Jimmy. Jimmy takes down Hatsu 2-0 as well. And I believe we have another update here. Night Phoenix takes down Demi 2-0. Then we have Solar versus Cham. I believe that was over in the upper bracket. Cham, oh my god, Cham, he pops off once again. If you recall, I want to say, was it Cham versus Rogue? Yeah, Cham, he took down Rogue a couple of weeks ago in an online Open Cup in the Pig Store Cup, and here he takes down Solar as well. Like, Cham has been looking very impressive in ZVZ. That is a crazy upset. He takes down Rogue a couple of weeks ago, takes down Solar here as well. Some killer ZVZ out of Cham. Congratulations. Cham, he does advance on to the next round. So, looks like we have a lot of progression when it comes to low bracket. We have a lot of players eliminated, and we have Solar knocked down as well. Crazy result, crazy upset. Este Chamaco popping off. GG. GG, well played. That does wrap up our OSC events for the week, and that leads us into our open tournaments. Oh boy, a lot to get into. A lot to get into here. Our first is going to be the KSL, the Korean StarCraft League, week number 76. Again, KSL has returned. This is a weekly open tournament, still, targeting the Korean region, of course. And we have Hero. Hero, he does pop off. Again, Hero, he has 100% win rates in KSLs. Every single KSL that he signs up for, he does win, he does take. Hero takes down Rebellion 2-0, Hero takes down SOS 2-0, and Hero takes down Classic 3-1 as well. We'll be going over we'll be getting into Hero a little bit more in depth later on in regards to GSL. But yes, Hero, there was a GSL interview where they actually brought up something that I just assumed, but I guess we have some more empirical data. In my mind, Hero has the best PvP in the world, and during the interview, they actually mentioned how he has the best PvP on Oligulac at least. So Hero's been looking like a beast in this matchup. He takes down everyone. SOS, Rebellion, and Classic, so big win there for Hero, as it does claim another win. Meanwhile, Classic, he had a good run himself, taking down Nice and Beyond to make it to those finals. And it was a very intense finals as well. Very intense PvP. In the end, it does go to Hero, but honestly, that could have gone either way. GG. GG, well played there to Hero. That leads us into the Galaxy Open Cup Season 1. We were going to cover this event. If you recall, like, we were I should say, Troy Galaxy did reach out to us. Unfortunately, we had to cover another event at the time. I think we were live with Duckling Open or STC, one of the two. At the time of this tournament, so we weren't able to cover it at the time. But in the end, congratulations to Hero. Hero takes the win, takes down Rebellion 2-0, takes down Cristiano 2-0, takes down Percival 2-0. Oh, in the end. Best of 3 finals. Curious here, as it's listed best of 5 on Wikipedia. But it looks like they did play a best of 3 in the finals instead. I'm not too sure if that was an issue in regards to the formats listed on Wikipedia, or if the players disagreed. You know, maybe they for to just expedite things, they did agree to have a shorter series. Regardless, congratulations to Hero claiming another win here. Very impressive. Now, we don't know how often this event is going to take place. This says season 1, so are we gonna get a season 2? Hard to say, but for the time being, congratulations to Hero. Likewise, we actually had Percival going on a very impressive run himself. Remember, we were giving praise to Percival for going to the ace match against SOS, and here Percival takes down Trigger 2-1 and Classic 2-1 as well. And we'll be getting into it here, but I mean, this is a Classic who is a champion. I mean, we're gonna go over the GSL matches here, so if you haven't tuned into GSL, if you still have to watch the matches, check out our VODs. Check out our VODs here. Check out our VODs over on the CranKy Ducklings, over on YouTube, over on Twitch as well. But Classic, he is this season's GSL champion, dubbed so over the weekend. So for Percival to bring Classic down, a Classic who's in form, very impressive win there for Percival. That's also why I was also impressed for Hero to take down Classic in the KSL finals as well, but that was a different matchup. As to what Classic had in his GSL run. So regardless, GG well played. Percival, he pops off, does go down to Hero in the end. GG well played. And again, we'll see if we get some future Choi Galaxy tournaments in the future. We'll see if we do get them. Do look forward to it. That leads us into the CSO Cup number 80. Here we do have Byan. Byan, he does step into the ring, takes down Gamer Richie 2-0, Ledlix 2-1. Yo, shout out to Ledlix taking a map off of Byan. Not just that, when it comes to the hierarchy of the Italian players, I do rate Azura quite highly. And Ledlix, he's been an up-and-coming player for a long time. He's been like slowly rising through those ranks. So to see Ledlix taking down Azura 2-0, that's a big win. That's a big win there for Ledlix, and he also takes a map off of Byan. Very impressive stuff there. We do have Cristiano taking down Nickrat, and in the end, Byan takes down Cristiano in the grand finals. GG well played to Byan, does claim the win. That leads us into the Sparkling Tuna Cup number 94, where we had Byan here popping off as well, not dropping a single map. This time there was no Ledlix to stop him. He was on the other side of the bracket. I'm sure that Byan breathed a sigh of relief. I'm sure he was like, phew. Thank God Ledlix isn't here this time. As Byan takes down Ragnar 2-0, Rebellion 2-0, Percival 2-0, and Showtime 3-0. Perfect score there for Byan. Not a single blemish on the record. Impressive performance. When it comes to the rest of the event, Percival took down Nickrak 2-1, went all the way to the ace match there. Showtime, he is not a regular in our tournaments, but this is his second time competing. And fun fact, the last time Showtime was here, he also went down in the finals. Like, he also got taken down in the finals as well. So Showtime, he's got 2 second places so far. Still no Tuna Cup win for Showtime. Not yet, but I'm sure it's coming. Meanwhile, we had Cristiano. Cristiano took down Dave Little, took down Eba, went down to Showtime in those semis. Great to see Sebestis here as well. Again, we had a decent, race representation here overall. We had a TVP finals, but Byan, crazy performance, undefeated. GG well played. That leads us into the Water TV Monday number 40 here. Oh boy, and we're missing some players, and I'm sure partly because of the GSL finals. GSL finals that were over the weekend. So GSL playoffs were over the weekend, so some players are missing here. This time there was no Hero, there was no Classic. In general, Korean representation was a little bit lower here in regards to Protosses, but what about everyone else? Here we had Clem. Clem, he took down Shameless, took down Showtime, took down Mana, and Clem did take down Solar 3-2 in the grand finals. It was a very intense back and forth. Solar had a crazy performance himself, taking down Byan, taking down Rainer, and going to the ace match against Clem. I don't want to gloss over it, but Rainer, he showed up for the first time. This was Rainer's very first time competing in the Wardy TV Monday. Like, Rainer, he's not really one to compete too often in these tournaments, and I'm hoping that he plays again. It was unfortunate that he played off against Solar. Solar has some of the best ZVZ in the world. Solar is terrifying. I mean, give credit to Cham. Like, Cham took down Solar. I mean, so for Cham to take down Solar, for Solar to take down Raynor, Cham, best ZVZ in the world? Question mark? Maybe. Esther Cham. But regardless, Solar does take down Raynor, takes down Beyond, but does fall to Clem in the finals. And then in a very intense best of 5. Very back and forth. GG. GG well played. Meanwhile, a big shout out to Luis GGG in the chat. Gracias. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the raid. Hope you had a great stream. Heard a great ladder session. Hope you had a great time. Thank you so much for the raid. Likewise, a big shout out to Soundo in the chat as well for subscribing with Twitch Prime for 55 months. Thank you. Thank you so much. Big shout out to Soundo and a shout out to Luis GG as well. Gracias. But yes, with that, Clem does claim the win here. It was still a very intense finals, of course, and Solar did hold his own, so impressive back and forth. And fun fact, of course, we have a fun stat here that we found out during the event. Solar, this is the first time we've had a Zerg player in the finals of What is Monday. This is the first time. This is the first time in 2025. In 2025, for the very first time, we had a Zerg player in the finals. So impressive! Like he pulled it off. We didn't think Zerg players could make it this far, but Solar, he makes it all the way to the finals after 6 months, after half a year. And fun fact, in the history of What is Monday, Solar is the second Zerg player to make it to the finals. The first one was Shin. Shin, he was the first one. He pulled it off last year. Last year in the offseason, Shin was the first Zerg player into the finals, and now Solar is the second. 6 months later. GG. Does this bode well? Does it bode well for Zerg? We'll see. Regardless, congratulations to Clem. Leads us into the Monday Night Weeklies here, where we had a Clem popping off once again. This time, though, there was no Solar. This time, there was no Solar to stop him. Solar, he got knocked out earlier. Beyond got his revenge. Beyond, he does get his revenge over Solar 2-1. And Solar, he got knocked out by Sebestes. Ooh, he does get knocked out by the Protoss. Hold on. Did Solar avoid Protoss in the What is Monday? He did. That's why he got that far. Usually there's like a max packs, usually there's a hero or a classic. Ooh, like looking back at the What is Monday, we mentioned how there was less Protoss representation in this week's What is Monday. Yeah, no max packs, no hero, and no classic, and no Zaun. So Solar, he had a really good run there, avoiding all the Protoss. Here on Monday Night Weekly, gets knocked out by Sebestes. Like, here, he cannot avoid the Protoss in Europe, baby. Not in Europa. So this time, Solar, he got knocked out much earlier instead. And a shout out to Beyond as well for getting his revenge. Meanwhile, Percival popping off. Percival takes down Creator 2-1. That's another big win for Percival. Again, I would say that Percival's best matchup is TVP. I mean, we're kind of seeing it in these results, but for, I want to say, a couple of months now, his best matchup has been TVP. That's where he thrives in, and that's where he excels. Still goes down to Clem's Protoss. Clem, arguably the best Protoss versus Terran in the world. Clem takes down Percival. Clem takes down Beyond. And again, Clem doesn't drop a single map in this tournament. 2-0 over Max Packs, and 2-0 again over Max Packs as well. So congratulations, well done there to Clem, as he does claim the win. This time there was no Solar to stop him or anything like that. He got knocked out earlier. This time also there's no hero either. Max Fax had a good run. He took down Hero Marine, he took down Big Gabe 2-1, took down Raynor twice, took him down in the upper bracket and the lower bracket as well. But yeah, something about Raynor today. Like Raynor this week, he played in the What is Monday, he played in the Monday Night Weekly. Raynor, is this going to be a trend? Is he going to start competing in more tournaments, or was this a one-off? And then do we never see him again? Like, I hope this is maybe the beginning of something here. I hope we get to see a little bit more of Raynor in these tournaments. Fingers crossed as we get ready for EWC, of course. Meanwhile, congratulations to Clem for claiming the win. Congratulations here. And that leads us into the OSC Elite Rising Star number. Oh wait, my apologies. That leads us into the Pegasaur Cup. Leads us into the Pegasaur Cup here. Before we get into our big offline events, we'll get there. But Pegasaur Cup is going to be the final weekly here, as we have Pegasaur Cup number 36. This time, Max Pax gets his revenge. Clem took down Max Pax 4-0 in the previous tournament, but here Clem, he does take down Shameless 2-0, takes down Estrella 3-0, and Clem does take down. And Max Pax takes down Clem at 3-2 in the finals. So there was a back and forth there. It went all the way to the ace match, but Max Pax does claim the win. A big win there for Max Pax. It's been a while. Since we've seen Max Pax versus Clem in the finals of these tournaments, and yeah, it takes down Clem inside finals. Right, that's what I was looking at. as we were getting ready for these finals, I was curious and I checked the numbers. We haven't seen MaxPax versus Clem in the finals of the Pegasaur Cup or in the finals of any of these weeklies in like 3 months. This week was an exception. We had MaxPax versus Clem in the finals of the Monday Night Weekly, and we also had them in the finals here. But before this week, it's been 3 months. I want to say it was March. It was yeah, it was around March where we last saw them in the finals. So it's been a long time. I know that there's like a meme, or there's a bit of a meme in regards to like, oh, it's a weekly tournament, Clan versus MaxPax. They haven't played in the finals in months. It's been a long time. Usually there's Hero in the finals, or Beyond, or Classic, replacing one of the two. So we haven't seen MaxPax and Clem in a very long time. So it was refreshing to see them again this week in the finals of Pegasaur Cup and the Monday Night Weekly. So a blast from the past, back to normalcy in a way. It's been months, but they face off twice this week, and they trade. Clem in one, MaxPax in the other. GG. GG, well played. Also, this is a very Protoss Terran heavy bracket. I just I do recall this as well. I remember I typically I try to cast Zerg players while I can before they get knocked out in these tournaments, and I couldn't cover any of them this time. There was like, not this time, not in the Pegasaur Cup. Smooch, baby, smooch. But GG, well played. That leads us into our offline tournaments here. Up first, Cheeseadelphia. Great to see Cheeseadelphia return. There was a big prize pool as well, bigger than previously, and we were able to cover this event live. We were able to cover it live. Going through the group stage and going through the playoffs as well is a one big day event. It was a long broadcast. I think it was like 11 hours, like 11-hour cast. And we, of course, did cover it here. Dave was also live. Dave, he had his own camera at the event and was also covering the event offline, and bringing on players, bringing on Niche, or not quite Niche, but StarCraft Historian, and bringing on Stegosaurus and some of these other players as well to get interviews going. And yeah, it was really fun to see the community come together. It was a bit of a chaotic tournament, I will say that. It was a little bit chaotic. Was a little bit chaotic, but regardless, GG, well played. We had a Future. Future did pop off. Oh, right, before I get ahead of myself, we had a big lineup of players, and Geralt actually flew over from Poland. Geralt, he flew to Epic Land previously, and now he flew over here as well. And I was asking him, I was curious, I was like, yo, what got you motivated to play and to come to Cheeseadelphia? Apparently, Geralt, he's been wanting to go to Cheeseadelphia for years. He's been wanting to go for years, but then COVID happened, and he couldn't quite go, and there were other things that were kind of stopping him from going last year as well, so things just didn't line up for him. But this year, finally able to travel, finally able to go, and Geralt, he had a really good performance here. The only player to stop him previously was Future in the group stage. I think Future was the only one to stop him in the group stage, and here Geralt takes down full hard 3-0. Geralt had a crazy performance against Epic, very intense back and forth. I think everyone was surprised to see Epic pose a threat to Geralt, and in the end, we had a back and forth grand finals, best of 7. Future cheese the hell out of Geralt. There was no macro. there was no macro in the finals, let me tell you. We had a lot of very intense games, a lot of all-ins. Future, 1-base all-ins, 2-base all-ins, proxies as well, just hyper-aggression, cheeky builds, and he did pull a fast one over Geralt. GG. But it went all the way to the ace match. It was a very close best of 7. In the end, Future does claim the win. Congratulations. NA does prevail. But a shout out to Geralt for competing and for taking part in this tournament. For traveling across the world as well. I know he was staying with Dave Testa, and it was really cool to see the community come together. I kind of glossed over it. Who did we have here today? For this tournament, we had Full Heart, we had Pili Pili, we had Jehefe, Foxer, Epic, Dolan, Disrespect, Starkiller, Tempo, Warren, and many others. And there were also players there that weren't competing, that were just watching. Kawayan was there. I know Nish was there as well. I know Krista was there. A lot of community members from around StarCraft in the NA region that did travel here to Cheeseadelphia. It was really cool to see the turnout. For the event. And yeah, I mean, here's to a future tournament as well. I know Joe, he did express interest in running another Cheeseadelphia next year in 2026. This might just become an annual event, and I look forward to seeing it grow over time. I hope to see it grow over time and become a more stable tournament, and yeah, become something that the NA region can rely upon and can maybe become a little bit more consistent in regards to participation and signups and players heading over. GG. GG well played. And again, with that, congratulations to your future. And here's to more events in the future as well. There's actually hold on. There's actually a better photo. I don't know if you're showing it off. Hold on, I'll link it to you. Man. There's a group photo as well, which is really cool to see. We have Zesty as well. True. We have Zesty. We have. I'm just trying to like pick off. I can't quite recall. All right, Leafy. Leafy was there as well. Berry Crunch was there. True. Berry Crunch was there. Leafy was there. Some other like community members that again they weren't necessarily competing, but were a part of the event nonetheless. So there was a big like group photo taken at Cheeseadelphia on the stage. So yeah, big shout out to all those working behind the scenes, and here's to more Cheeseadelphias in the future.
Big shout out to Beefy for being our star of the show.
Yes, he should have been in the middle of the photo, let's be honest. Beefy. It's beautiful. Big shout out to Beefy. So again, here's the future Cheeseadelphias in the coming years, and to many more to come here. That leads us into GSL. I mentioned it earlier, but GSL we had the playoffs, of course. And what's important about said playoffs is that we actually had a couple of days in between the round of 8 and the semifinals. Remember, last season it was back to back 3 days straight of GSL. Here, there were thankfully a couple of days in between the group stage and the playoffs, so players had a little bit more time to prepare and get their matches ready. Now, when it comes to the group stage, we had Group A. We had Rogue, Gumiho, Solar, and Maru. Now, coming into Group A of Group Stage 2, I was really curious to see, just like last time, just like Group Stage 1, if Maru has been kind of adapting in any way. Maru, if you've been watching him, if you watched his DreamHack Dallas performance, if you watched him at GSL Season 1, Maru has been doing nothing but all-ins. Maru has been hyper-aggressive 2-base all-ins, 3-base all-ins in almost every matchup, in TVZ and in TVP. The one matchup where Maru hasn't been going for all-ins is Terran versus Terran. That's the only one where Maru's been playing macro. All the other ones has been hyper-aggressive. And I was curious to see if that continues, if that trend continues. And here we see it did continue. It did continue here. And Solar, he was so prepared for it. I was very impressed by Solar versus Maru. Again, Solar, he hard countered Maru's 8 racks. Maru, he went for a 3-base all-in, 8 racks. It was on Tokamak, and Solar, he completely shut it down, going for a Ling Ravager all-in, hitting just before the 8 racks came online. It was, again, a build designed to shut down that 3-base all-in from Maru, and it worked beautifully. Like Solar, he read Maru like a book, and this is the problem with Maru's style right now, is that it is a little bit more predictable. He's still very strong, and he can still execute these builds with like no other, 100%. But if you know what's coming, you can prepare for it, and that's the advantage of GSL with that preparation-based format, is that you can prepare for Maru's builds. So Solar, he was coming in and he was able to shut Maru down. Likewise, Gumiho showcasing once again his TVT prowess. Gumiho, you can argue he has the best TVT in the world. I'd argue Ryung, but you can make an argument for Gumiho as well. And Gumiho did knock Maru out of the tournament. Fun fact, Gumiho knocked Maru out of Season 1. He knocked him out of Season 2 as well. Este Gumiho. Leave Maru alone, papi. Leave him alone. Of course, with Solar's help. And Maru, he gets knocked out early on here in Group Stage 2. Likewise, we had Solar versus Gumiho in the playoffs, or in that final match. And another big thing that happened in this tournament was mech. Maru, he played mech. Gumiho played mech. I didn't get to talk about it, but game 1 versus Solar and Maru, Maru did play mech on ley lines. Gumiho whipped out a lot of mech against Rogue, a lot of mech against Solar, and of course a lot of 8 Raxes as well. So we had like non-stop mech and 8 Raxes, and in the end, Gumiho did get the better of Solar, did bring him down. Again, Gumiho, what's terrifying about Gumiho is that he can play mech, he can also play bio, he can mix it up, and he did mix it up here against both players. I'll be honest, I'm still thinking about Gumiho versus Rogue on Tokamak. Like, if you remember, Gumiho had a massive lead. He scattered the Muta tech. He was ready for it, but the Mutas, they eventually overwhelmed. Like, Rogue, it was a big gambit going to Mutas against Gumiho, and it paid off. It worked wonders. It was a very tense series. Gumiho, he doesn't make it out in first place, but does make it out in second. So Rogue and Gumiho, they come out in first and second place. That leads into Group B. And Group B was an interesting one just because Bunny, I don't think many people, I mean, I say many people, I don't think anyone expected Bunny to make it out of the group stage 1. Like, in the same group as Byun and Shin and Gumiho, I think not many people looking at Bunny, but Bunny, we spoke about it last time. Bunny, he popped off in TVT. Like, he showcased some killer TVT against all the Terrans in that group, against Gumiho and against Byun. And Bunny, off of that TVT matchup, he was able to excel in Group B. Here, there's no other Terran though. There's no other Terrans. If give him Maru, Bunny would have excelled. Give him Gumiho, like, but here in Group Stage 2, there was no other Terrans. It was purely Terran versus Protoss, and Bunny, he was able to hold his own. He had some very impressive performances. He had very impressive games. Went all the way to the ace match against Classic and against Hero, but alas, did go down. Likewise, Zan, he also had a crazy performance as well. If you watch those matches, we cover them here on the channel. Zan went for non-stop cheese. He went for non-stop aggression against both Hero and Classic. He even cannon rushed Hero. He cannon rushed Hero to death. he beat him. He beat him in the first round. And he was able to take Hero down. So really impressive performance there by Zan initially. But Hero, he did tighten up. He tightened up towards the end, and he did take down Zan. And in the end, we had Classic and Hero coming out in first and second place. Again, a chaotic group there for Hero, but it wouldn't be Hero if it isn't chaotic. So in the end, we had Classic, Hero, Rogue, and Gumiho making it through that group stage into the playoffs. Something that I did want to go over here, coinciding here with the group stage, is we did have some interviews. We did have some interviews regarding this. Hold on, this is like a lot. All the links, might be all the links. We did have some interviews here regarding this. Shout out to Meisenhower. Meisenhower was at the event, and he actually did conduct round of 8 interviews. I don't think there was any playoffs interviews, so only for the round of 8 did he conduct said interviews. Bear that in mind. And he was able to host interviews for both groups. Going over the group A, of course, with Rogue and Gumiho, he was able to discuss some of the games, of course. He was able to go over some of the players. I think it was definitely interesting to hear from Gumiho. He was discussing about how recently he's been having a hard time against Protoss. He's been having a hard time. He was feeling a little bit nervous coming into the next round of tournaments. Again, Gumiho, he's one of the few that does like to mech it up against Protoss as well. He has a really unique style. They did discuss that. So Gumiho, he was talking about how his strength is how versatile he is, and he's always willing to play into mech. Sometimes one of his weaknesses is that he sometimes forces mech when he shouldn't. There are times where he should just calm down and go into bio instead, but sometimes he can't help it. He just can't help making it up. But regardless, Gumiho, he was just discussing his style. Likewise, he was talking about his match versus Maru. Gumiho versus Maru, there was mech. Like, Maru, he does really enjoy playing mech. Specifically, I mean, we saw it against Zerg, we saw it against Terran. It is something that he does like mix in as well. And Gumiho, he was discussing how like he's confident in his TVT, and he wasn't really thinking too much about Maru. Like, I think Meisenhower, he asked him, "Hey, Maru played Protoss against you last season. Did you think about that this season? Like, if he would switch again or not?" Gumiho was like, "I didn't think about it. He's like, I just play my games." Like, okay, fair enough, Bobby, fair enough. And he was discussing how he's confident against playing against mech, specifically just because he can really showcase battle mech, and he feels like he's favored against mech with that style. And he knew that Maru would play mech as well, so that's where he was able to excel. So Gumiho just kind of discussing his long history in StarCraft, talking about the fans, and yeah, I mean, it's really cool to see how long Gumiho's been around. And again, there's still a little bit more in regards to the interview, a little bit more in details to some of the matches. So I do recommend checking it out. Big shout out to Meisenhower for conducting said interview. And again, much love for Gumiho as he stepped in towards those playoffs. Likewise, there was an interview for Rogue as well. I think the Rogue one was an interesting interview just because Rogue, he came off a little bit more nervous than we would expect. Like, he's a veteran of the scene. He finished his military service. He was talking about like how sometimes he does feel like anxious or nervous coming into coming into GSL, and he spoke about how one of the ways to try to get rid of that anxiety is to go all in. He was like, one of the ways that I deal with like nerves and anxiety and anxiousness is like, you just play aggressive, like go all in, and it's a way to just shake it off. So that's why he's always going all in, Kappa. So he was kind of explaining his mindset a little bit there. He was talking about like he felt pretty confident coming into the group stage. He specifically said like he made sure to eat well and to exercise. It's like, okay. It reminds me, of course, of like TLO and some of these other, I mean, like nowadays, just because esports has been around for a long time, talking about how like it's not always about that grind. It's about making sure that you sleep well, you eat well, and like you're in a good mindset coming into your playoff day. And Rogue was emphasizing that as well. He was in good form, good condition. Oh. And yes, it was in this interview where he did actually call out Hero. Like he was asked like who does he prefer to play like when it comes to Protosses, just because Rogue, he was discussing how he was not feeling too confident about ZVP, and he said that he would feel more confident against Hero than say someone like Classic. Like he was calling Hero out a little bit, and that goes into the next interview. But yeah, Rogue was being a little bit cheeky. I find it funny just because if you remember, Hero and Rogue, they're quite close. I think Rogue even explained that he's practice partners with Hero. Like they do practice off stream, or they practice like not in tournaments, but they do a lot of customs together, and that was kind of shown off at DreamHack. If you remember, during DreamHack Dallas, there was actually a shot of Rogue and Hero after they played. Hero took down Rogue in those playoffs, or at DreamHack, I should say. And right after the game, like Hero went over to shake Rogue's hand, and then Rogue, he shook his hand, then he like pointed at his monitor, and then like Hero, they both just like kind of like had a conversation, just going over the replay. Like right after the series, they just went over the replay together. They were just like talking about the game. It's like, oh, okay, like they're close like that. And yeah, it's really cool to see that as well, just because I think nowadays there's less practice partners, right? I think people, they speak a little bit less on that because there are no team houses anymore. So it's always exciting to see like who practices together, who doesn't. So really cool to hear. Really cool to hear there from Rogue. Likewise, he was also talking about his ZVZ, discussing, about how he does enjoy being aggressive to shake off those nerves. And he was asked one of the fun questions about, if he had to pick any pro gamers to help him, what was the question? If your loved ones were kidnapped by pirates, you can only rescue them by recruiting 3 pro gamers, like who would you pick and why? And he said that he in the past he probably would have had like a better answer, but after going to DreamHack Dallas, he realized just how skinny everyone had gotten. he was like all these pro gamers, what happened, Bob? Yeah. So his answer was he didn't know who to pick, and he picked Ryung in the end, which I thought was an interesting one. But yes, he did pick Ryung, and to be fair, Ryung, he is one of the more serious pro gamers for sure. So I can see that. I like how they're like, pick 3. He's like, Ryung. that's all I need, Bob. That's all I need. Oh god, Este Rogue. Likewise, we did have our interviews with Classic and Hero as well, as they made it out of the group stage. Hero, he had once again an interesting one. He spoke about Bunny. We mentioned this all the time, and I even brought it up during our cast, how so I should say, when it comes to our players and when it comes to ex-players, ex-teammates, the ex-CJ boys are still good friends. Like, we have Hero, Shin, and Bunny. The 3 of them, they still interact outside of the game. They still hang out together. They still have dinners together and catch up, and they still practice together as well. And part of this interview, Hero, he was discussing about how he was really torn because he was in the same group as Bunny, and they had to play against each other. And he was definitely a little bit torn about playing against him, and he spoke about how that kind of affected his play as well. He didn't want to eliminate Bunny, he didn't want to knock him out just because they're good friends, so that was like a factor coming into it, which I thought was pretty nice to hear. Again, like, it's something that we've seen, but he discusses it here in the interview, talking about how like he was definitely conflicted playing against Bunny and playing against his teammate. He spoke about how that actually impacted like his games versus Down. Like, he was a little bit distracted, and he because of that, he wasn't playing his best against Down. And he spoke about how after Bunny got eliminated, then he could like lock in. Like, then he could focus on his games, and he was able to persevere in his rematch against Down. It's really interesting. The other big thing, of course, which I didn't really notice, but I guess some people, I'm sure, spoke about it. But they spoke about how apparently Hero, he was the first Protoss player to win in 5 years at GSL. Talking about season 1, I was like, oh yeah, I guess. So he was able to break that win streak. Apparently, another accolade that he achieved was he's the first pro gamer to win a GSL who was 30 years older. Like, the first 30-year-old to win a GSL. So there you go. So Hero, he has that win under his belt. If you're out there, if you're in your 30s, no excuse. just win the GSL. Hero didn't. True, true. So again, here it also puts things into perspective. You know, we're all getting a little bit older here, and despite that, of course, Hero is one of the best players in the world. So yeah, they were just discussing those accolades and going over like what it would mean to like win like another GSL and any other kind of like big goals that he has. Hero, he spoke about how like it feels like GSL is a bit of like a precursor to EWC. Like GSL is important and all, but you know his main attention, his main focus for a lot of these players is Esports World Cup. I think Gumiho spoke about that as well. Like his main focus is to qualify for Esports World Cup. That's the goal. That's the hope. That's the plan, I should say. So yeah, they were discussing that. Hero, he spoke about how when it came to the Rogue interview, he felt offended. He was like, he said that he said he couldn't help but get mad when Rogue said he wanted to play against Hero instead of the other Protosses. Like, how dare he? I need to teach him a lesson. So here he definitely having some fun with Rogue and was definitely a little bit offended by that. Este Rogue. No. And when it comes to the Pirates question, he was asked, right, who would he want to like come and save him in regards to, or save his loved ones if they were kidnapped by pirates, and his go-to was Dark, which makes sense in my mind. He's like, yo, Dark, he's a big boy. So his go-to was Dark. His second pick was Bunny, which coincides with with the group itself. You know, talking about teammates, talking about friends. So Dark because he's going to be the muscle. Bunny because he's reliable, and then his last pick was Stats. Because apparently Stats, he's rich. So there you go. Like Stats came out of left field, especially because he's not an active player at the moment. But Stats was his final one. For the money. Let's go. Yo, meanwhile, shout out to Eba in the chat. Gab, thank you so much, Eba, for the raid. Hope you had a great stream, had a great ladder session. We were going over your matches earlier. Este Eba. But welcome to the PondCast, of course. We're just going over the news of the week, going over GSL currently. We already went over all the Open Cups. But thank you nonetheless, though, for the raid. Hope you had a great time. Hope you had a good ladder session. Dark would lock the pirates in his dungeon. He would. He would, Pap, he would. Aye. And of course, lastly, we had the interview with Classic as well. Classic also kind of like talking about like what it would mean to him, just because there's so much history between all these players, and they were discussing about how Classic, it's been years since he has been a champion. He won GSL and SSL back in the day, but that was back in 2014. It's been a long time since then. 2014, 2015. That was pre-Legacy of the Void as well. So it was talking about how it would mean a lot to him to get back to that kind of game state. I think a lot of the players are also talking about how nowadays they do feel like it takes a little bit more work to kind of get to where they were. It feels like they're not quite at what they once were pre-military service. That was another big one, is that Hero, I think he was the first player to win a GSL post-military. But like Hero, Rogue, Classic now as well, Gumiho, they've all done the military service, they're all back, and they're all trying to like get back into form, before they did go there, and it's definitely like a challenge for that. I think they spoke about how it does feel like they have to put in more work than they did previously to get up to a level they once were at. So it's definitely something that's kind of like accumulating over time. But it was gonna mean that much more for Classic for sure, and it was definitely a heartfelt interview. So yeah, do check it out. Big shout out to TL, big shout out to Meisenhower for conducting these interviews. He did so last season as well. Unfortunately, no interviews for the playoffs, but interviews for the group stage. Much love. Check him out over on Team Liquid, over on TL. And that leads us into the playoffs. That leads us into the main event. The players we had a top four. We had Rogue, Hero, Classic, and Gumiho. And we had, I would say, a crazy upset. Rogue versus Hero. I also didn't get to mention this, but Hero, he was asked like what his mantra, what his thoughts were going up against Rogue. And he said how like he has a motto to like kill Rogue early. Didn't quite get there. If you watch the matches, Rogue, he was hyper aggressive against Hero, non-stop all-ins, a lot of Ling base play, a lot of Ling Bane all-ins, a lot of Ling even Ultra base play, a lot of Ling Hydra, but just hyper aggression, a lot of Ling Bane out of Rogue, and he did cheese the hell out of Hero. Honestly, that best of 5 lasted like 20 minutes. That was a really short series. that was a very short best of 5. I was like, oh my god. So again, a really short series there. Rogue did get the better of Hero in the end. That led us into Classic versus Gumiho, where Gumiho had some cheeky builds. He was going for some proxies, he was going for some all-in, some more unorthodox styles. But Classic, he was doing his best. I want to say doing his best stats impression. I think that really kind of kicked into high gear during the grand finals. Like I was very impressed here with Classic in his series against Rogue. Basically, I was curious to see, and it was a bit of an issue here. Rogue, he showed off a lot of really unique builds. I'm reminded of Torches. Remember what happened to Torches? Torches against Hero. Rogue, he went for a proxy hatchery, and Hero missed it completely. He was looking for it, he missed it completely. He went for the hatchery on the other side of the golden wall, and he went for a Link Flood, and he caught Hero completely off guard, and we spoke about it. I was concerned. I was like, are we showing off too many builds here? The problem is in the finals, we have Classic, and with that, like, it's going to be a little bit more difficult to catch him off guard, and we kind of saw that come into high gear. Like, Classic was very defensive. After he saw the series against Hero, he was very defensive, very on top of his scouting, I should emphasize as well. If you remember, they actually had a match on Torches where Rogue, he actually faked the same build. He faked the build, which I thought was amazing, but he got knocked out anyway. Like, Rogue, he actually took the other goal base, and he took both goal bases, but he didn't tech up. He was stuck with a low-tech army. Regardless, went all the way to the ace match, but more or less every game was an all-in from Rogue. I think we got one macro game on Magnatha, but even then it was forced. Even then it was a forced macro game. Every game was just non-stop all-ins out of Rogue, and Classic did his best stats impression. He picked up the shield, baby. He picked up the Shield of Ire. He was hyper defensive. He was able to excel there in that kind of game state, and Classic did take the win. GG with that. Classic claiming that GSL title. He's done so in the past, but again, it's been years since he has been a GSL champion, and he's our latest champion out of Korea. GG. GG, well played. Again, a very intense series. It was the best of 7, went all the way to game 7, but short games. A lot of really short games. There were some games that lasted a little bit longer. I'm thinking of Persephone. Like, Persephone was the closest you got out of a macro game, where on Persephone, the map was cut in half, both players were maxed out, but Rogue was stuck on Ultra Tech, and Rogue was trying to switch out of Ultras into Spellcasters and Corruptors, but he got stuck on Ultras, and Classic just overwhelmed. Classic overwhelmed. It was same on Magnatha, where Rogue, he was maxed out on Lingbane Hydra, he was all in, and he failed to break Classic. Classic has some very, very clutch holds on Magnatha against the non-stop all-ins, and Rogue fell behind as a result. So a lot of aggressive builds are out of Rogue, a lot of all-ins. Classic did weather the storm. And I want to say that's kind of what we got out of this season of GSL. If we want to be a little bit critical about the games, is that Rogue versus Hero, Classic versus Gumiho, and Classic versus Rogue, there wasn't really a lot of macro there. There wasn't too much macro. There was just a lot of aggression, a lot of all-ins all around. You know, maybe sometimes that happens in a preparation-based format, but that's a lot of what we got here in this season. And, I mean, I say that, didn't quite win in the end. It was the more defensive play that did take that win. So GG, well played to Classic. Very impressive performance. And again, it kind of lines up with his previous performance against Serral. I want to say that if you watch the Serral series, these are just two very different PVZs. Classic versus Serral was all about the late game. It was late game back and forth, you know, both players maxing out, both players getting to that ideal kind of army and facing off in that late game. Here, it was Classic surviving. He was just Classic surviving the all-ins of Rogue. So, very different PVZ, but Classic did excel in both. Congratulations here to Classic. GG, well played. And a shout out to those that were at the event itself. We were able to see a lot of it was great to see some of the photographers come back, players like Monotone Sue. I saw that even in the group stage previously, there were some fan made like art and fan made handouts to everyone, like cheerfuls as well. It was very nostalgic, and really cool to see everyone coming out and supporting GSL after so long. GG. GG, well played. And with that, that leads us into our next set of tournaments. That leads us into... Yeah, that leads us into the Wardy TV June. Oh my god. It leads us into our Wardy TV event. Again, he does run one of these tournaments every single month. I believe it is crowdfunded as well. And we went through the group stage last week, if I'm not mistaken. I believe went through one of the groups. Sorry, two of them. went through the groups. I believe Group D had yet to be played out. So Group D did conclude. We had Raynor, Mana, Nickrack, and Hydra. I remember we didn't even have the players for Group D. It was left empty, if I recall correctly. So it was it was a little bit last minute when it comes to the group itself. I want to say Group C was playing out at the time that we were doing our PondCast, or maybe just Group D. But regardless, we had Max, Pax, and Spirit making it out of Group C, and we had Raynor and Mana making it out of Group D as well. So impressive run, impressive performances here that leads us into the playoffs. We had Mana popping off once again. Again, I feel like I have to reiterate this. I feel like not enough people give credit to Mana, but Mana, I mean, I see Yaku in the chat. Mana, he has been a beast over the past like 8 months. Like, I think we started seeing him get some really crazy results at the start of the year, even end of last year. It's one of those things where maybe not the most consistent of players, but every now and then he pops up. He is the manager, taking down Clem, taking down Max Pax, and here he takes down Beyond. Big win there for Mana. GG, well played. Like Mana, he just keeps hopping off. Does go down to Max Pax in the semis, but even then made a series out of it. Even then did make a series out of it. So regardless, impressive run there by Mana. He does go down to the semis. Max Pax takes down Solar 3-1, takes down Mana 3-1, and takes down Raynor in the grand finals. Max Pax does claim the win. Took down Raynor earlier in the Monday Night Weekly. Takes down Raynor here as well in the playoffs of Wardy TV June. So impressive performance there by Max Pax. Raynor, he himself took down the Creator 3-0, took down Geralt. Geralt also has been improving a lot, also has been getting better results. Geralt takes down Spirit 3-1. I mean, for a long time, I feel like Spirit was the best player in all of Poland, but that might be changing here. Geralt has been just getting better and better, has been traveling, of course, to more tournaments, to Cheeseadelphia, to DreamHack. So Geralt, he does claim the win over Spirit. Congratulations. I look forward to the next House Galactic battle, not gonna lie. I look forward to the next offline tournament. We'll see if the hierarchy can be broken and if Geralt can claim his first win. We'll see for that future offline event. Meanwhile, again, Max Pax does claim the win over Raynor. GG, well played. Very impressive performance. And that leads us into the Wardy TV European League 2025. Despite it being called the European League, apparently there's some Koreans. I'm a little bit confused. Yeah, I thought this was going to be region locked. Now, because it's the European League, I believe they play on the European server. That would make the most sense in my mind. But Björn, he made it through the qualifiers. Percival also made it through the qualifiers as well. So we do have some Korean representation. There are also going to be some invites. So basically, the event has yet to commence, but the qualifiers have concluded. So up first, we have qualifier number 1. In qualifier 1, we had Björn. Björn qualified via walkover. God damn it. Björn, he does get a walkover over Jumi. So Björn and Showtime, they made it through as Showtime takes on Shameless 3-2. Oh my god, very impressive play there by Shameless. Shameless going all the way to the ace match against Showtime. That is not an easy feat, so GG, well played. Björn and Showtime make it through. Meanwhile, Skilless takes down Scarlet 3-1 to qualify for the main event. Great to see more Scarlet. Scarlet has been more active as of late. I don't think we got to bring it up earlier during the Pigastore Cups, but Scarlet has been more active. Meanwhile, Cristiano takes out Mana 3-1. I want to say that Cristiano has had Mana's number recently. We saw them face off in the EWC European qualifiers as well, and there was another tournament. I want to say Cristiano was also popping off at Star Zagora. So yeah, Cristiano, he does take down Mana, very impressive. So we have Skilless, Cristiano, Showtime, and Björn through the upper bracket. Meanwhile, scoring down, we have Mana over Nickrack, Scarlet over Ledlix, Jumi over Mixu, and Shameless over Azura. So Shameless still qualifies regardless. So does Jumi, so does Scarlet, so does Mana. So we do have some NA representation with Scarlet. GG. GG, well played. That leads us into qualifier number 2. In qualifier 2, we had Gabe. Gabe takes down R 3-0. Nickrack takes down Percival 3-2. Very close, very clutch series there. So we have some Terran representation. And Geralt takes down Night Phoenix 3-1. Young Yakov takes down Mixu 3-0. Mixu over Sebestes. Night Phoenix over Inexorable. Percival over Azura. And Art over Triple. So we do have another set of 8 players making it through into the main event. So in total, we have 9 Protoss. We have Jumi, Cristiano, Mana, Shameless, Showtime, Skilless, Art, Geralt, and Night Phoenix. We have 4 Terran in Bjorn, Gabe, Nickrat, and Percival, and we have 3 Zerg in Scarlet, Mixu, and Young Yakov. And it looks like with the qualifiers concluding, we do have some invites on the horizon as well. Because this is meant to be the European League, I would imagine the invites are going to be European players. Like, I would imagine, players like Lambo and players like a Laser and Piotr, right? Spirit. I can definitely see, of course, prioritization of European players to be invited, and this is looking to be an interesting tournament as well. We do have a Swiss group stage here, where winners play off against winners, losers against losers. It's going to be a big group stage into a massive playoffs as well, so a big tournament here. Wardy did announce this previously, how he does plan on running these more bigger events for each region. There's going to be an event for the Europeans and an event for the Koreans as well. So, really cool to see the return of the European League. GG. GG, and we do look forward to it. We'll give you some updates as to how the event does unfold once we get more of those updates. That leads us into the RSL. The Revival StarCraft League has been running all week. All week we have had the RSL, bearing in mind, of course, that we have not been covering it ourselves as it has been casted over on their mainstream, and that's also why we have been casting a little bit less this week, so we don't clash with RSL. I say that, I mean, this stream is clashing with RSL, but we try to avoid it. We try to avoid clashing. We want to make sure that RSL, they get all the attention. They did announce that they are open to co-streamers. Like, we do have permission to co-stream, but we are, of course, we are choosing not to. We don't want to clash. We don't want to take viewers away. We want to try to support the RSL, as this is a big community tournament. It's run by the community for the community. There's a big Patreon, a big crowdfunding initiative for this tournament. Shout out to Gemini, State, Tasteless, Ziggy, and all those working behind the scenes for that big initiative. I think we have a command as well. Exclamation mark. RSL in the chat for the Patreon for the Rival StarCraft League, and we have some announcements coming into the event. First things first, Cyril. Cyril did choose to withdraw, and Cyril, he was replaced by Harstem. Harstem does replace Cyril coming into the main event. It is a bit of a shame, but something did come up, and Cyril could not compete, so he is replaced. Likewise, the prize pool was doubled thanks to Archon Studio, almost a Team Archon, but Archon Studio, they are the team and the studio working on the StarCraft miniatures game, and they did partner with RSL and boost the prize pool. So really big shout out to Archon Studio for that. Really cool to see them reach out with that, for them to create that partnership as well with RSL. It's definitely something that caught me off guard, and I'm hoping they're able to maybe make some content together. I hope they're able to, like, maybe in some way kind of do more than just like a sponsorship, but also maybe even have like a showcase of the miniatures game as well. We'll see what they do with that, or with that kind of partnership. But a big shout out nonetheless to the Archon Studio, to Team Archon Studio. And I'm definitely looking forward to the miniatures game, 100%. Definitely I'm looking forward to it. Definitely hope to see more in the future, as we are quickly, as we just did have a lot of updates in regards to that. Now, when it comes to the main event itself, the group stage. Group stage is about to conclude. We still have 2 more days of group stage. Group A was Cure, Bjorn, Percival, and Spirit. Spirit playing Protoss? Hold on.
Can confirm, Spirit played Protoss.
Yes, Spirit, he did play Protoss here instead. Hey, he took a game off of Percival. We have seen a lot of players off-race as Protoss over the years, a lot of players, but I believe this is the first time that I've at least seen Spirit off-race as Protoss. So we have another Terran player, going to the dark side, avoiding TBT, pulling a bit of a Clem, and hey, he took some maps. So impressive play there by Spirit. We'll see if this becomes a trend. And something that we see more of in the future from Piotr. Maybe Geralt has shown him the light. No. Feels Geralt, man. So with that, congratulations, Kira and Beyond. They make it through into the playoffs. My condolences to Percival and Spirit. They are knocked out of the tournament. Leads us into Group B. Group B, we have Hero, Clem, SOS, and Zound coming into this. Hero would be the heavy. I would say Clem and Hero come in as the heavy favorites. Shout out to SOS and Zound for also taking maps. I mean, Zound, he was able to force Clem to the ace match. Very impressive against Clem. But Hero does come out in first place. He doesn't drop a single map. 2 over SS, 2-0 over Clem as well. So impressive play there by Hero. And again, Clem comes in second place.
So here in Clem, they make it through. We have Group C. Group C is currently underway. Now, if you remember, we have been praising Cham's ZVZ. If you remember, Cham, he recently did defeat Rogue, and he recently beat Solar as well in the OSC midseason playoffs. So no surprise here, in a group of Zergs, Cham, he takes down Shin and Solar. Like, Cham, you can make an argument that he has the best ZVZ in the world. He's been having his way specifically with the Korean Zerg players, and bearing in mind that this is a Solar who is in form, who recently took down Raynor and went to town against Serral as well. Like, Cham's ZVZ is crazy right now, and comes out in first place. Out of left field, comes out in first place. The rest of the group is progressing. We have Hearthstone versus Solar about to begin, and we have the winner up against Shin as well. So best of luck to Hearthstone. Hearthstone is a replacement. You know what? Part of me is regretting this a little bit. Part of me wishes that Serral was here. Remember, Serral was meant to be here instead of Hearthstone. Is there a world where Cham would have also beaten Serral? I think if he taken down Solar, I think he could have 100%. He could have taken down Serral as well. But it would have been nice to have seen that here, to see if Cham does have the best ZVZ in the world. Like, Serral is like the only one that Cham hasn't brought down. So next time. That's why Serral forfeited. That's why he left. He saw Cham. He couldn't handle it. Serral was like, yo, Cham's in my group? I'ma just tap out now, papi. Oh, true, papi, true. Este chamaco. Ay, ay, ay. So with that, Cham does come out in first place, and we do have Solar, Shin, and Hearthstone fighting for that second place. Scrolling down, we have Group D. Tomorrow's going to be Group D. We have Raynor, Scarlet, Showtime, and Classic. Coming into this group, ooh, this is going to be a hard one to call. I would say I would favor Classic and Raynor coming into this, but, you know, we're a big fan of Scarlet, and also Showtime is doing really well as well. It's going to be a very close, very clutch group. Classic, it's hard to bet against him after winning GSL, and likewise, Raynor has been more active as of late as well. You know, Showtime's also been very, very active, maybe having a little bit less success, but still a strong player in his own right. And Scarlet has been competing again. Scarlet took a very long hiatus from StarCraft, but recently has been playing a lot more in open tournaments, and even in this tournament as well. Even in the Wardy tournament. So I don't know what it is, but in recent times, Scarlet, a fire has been lit, and Scarlet has been reinvigorated. It's great to see Scarlet being active, more so than she has been in the past 6 months. It's crazy. It's been a long time, but Scarlet is back. GG. GG, well played. El Champion, baby. Sí, El Champion. Oh my god. So best of luck to all the players. When it comes to the playoffs, I believe they're scheduled to begin in a couple of weeks' time. So there is going to be a bit of a break in just to leave some room for the EWC qualifiers. So there are no playoffs yet, but the group stage will conclude tomorrow. I should also emphasize when it comes to EWC, Esports World Cup, the global qualifiers are this weekend. So, again, they are right around the corner. Global qualifiers are starting in a couple of days. We're going to be covering them here on the channel to determine the final players to make it through. And I actually want to say that we should be going over that. Esports World Cup qualifiers. We should be going over the lineups here, assuming that we have them. I might be getting ahead of myself. I would want to if we have confirmation. Nope, never mind. So I guess this is another announcement. The EDC qualifiers are in a couple of days, but it looks like we don't actually have a bracket yet, which is a shame. I would hope that the players would know their opponents ahead of time so that they can practice and get ready and prepare builds. So I would hope that they have that information. Otherwise, we at least publicly have no idea. We have no idea who's playing against who, but bearing in mind the Esports World Cup Global Qualifiers, they're in a couple of days. We're going to be casting them here on the channel, as always. We're going to be all over that tournament. We're going to be all over that event. There are 8 players. 8 players going to be facing off. It's going to be Björn, Gumiho, Ryung, and Hero Marine. We have 4 Terrans. We have 1 Zerg and Lambo, and we have 3 Protosses in Goblin, Estrella, and Lemon. Bearing in mind that Showtime, he qualified because of his performance in the Bell and Gen Star Zagora, and we have Lancer qualifying because Firefly, of course, was suspended, was barred from the main event. So we have Lemon stepping in to replace Lancer, and we have Lambo stepping in to replace Showtime. Okay. So we have 8 players. And half of them will make it through. there's a good chance, but still, it's a lot is on the line. A lot is on the line. We spoke about it earlier, right? Like, there's so much hype around Goblin. Like, Goblin has some killer PvT, and no one expected Goblin of all players to make it this far. Like, Goblin, he is the odd one out, but he popped off in the European qualifiers. Likewise, we do have some solid German representation. I know there are a lot of people that were a little bit, torn that Lambo didn't make it through, but hey, thanks to Showtime performing well, Lambo, he also is able to have another chance to make it into the main event. There's a lot of hype around Estrella, Max Angel, Estrella. If he's able to make it into EWC, he's one of the few that doesn't have a team, right? He doesn't have a team. He's deserving to be on a team. Right now, Estrella, he has some killer PvT. I'll be honest, I favor Estrella against Bian, against Gumiho, against Marine, against Ryung. Like, Estrella has some of the best PvT out there. That is his strongest matchup. Give him a Terran, he has a good chance to make it through. But we'll see. Best of luck. Lemon also is going to be a wild card as well. Lemon, he has some killer PvP. True. Like, give Lemon Estrella, give Lemon Goblin. Lemon, he can look like a beast. Lambo, he's very much so a preparation-based player. So if he's able to know ahead of time, then he can come out with some very specialized builds. I do think that Lambo's worst matchup is ZVT. I think Zerg vs Terran is a matchup that he's struggling in right now. So it's a very Terran-heavy bracket that might bode a little bit poorly for Lambo, but give him a Protoss and he has some unique builds ready for that 100%. So we'll be seeing how Lambo does perform. Likewise, when it comes to the Terrans, Gumiho and Ryung, they're TVT specialists. They are TVT specialists. That is where they thrive. Beyond right now is also looking very informed against Zerg. Is looking decently strong against Terran as well. I mean, I feel like a lot of these TVTs could go either way. Same with Gabe. For me, Gabe is a bit more of a question mark, but for me, that's only because I see less of Gabe as someone that casts the Wardy Mondays and the Pegasus Cups and covers all these qualifiers. Gabe isn't really active in any of those. At most, Gabe plays in the Monday Night Weekly. We don't cover that. So Gabe, for me at least, he's a little bit more of an enigma in regards to how he can perform against the other Terrans, specifically in TVT. So we'll see. We'll see what Gabe has to offer in that Terran versus Terran matchup. But regardless, it is going to be a stacked lineup, and we'll be all over that on the channel as well. We'll do our best. We'll do our best. It is going to be a 2-day event. Otherwise, we're wrapping up. Otherwise, that is all of our news for the week. Now, we do have another event on the horizon here. We're going to be live in half an hour. In half an hour's time, we're going to be live with the OSC King of the Hill. So we do need a little bit of time to get ready for that event. That's also why we had to wrap things up a little bit faster here. Next week, we will be going over their interviews. We didn't get to cover them this week, but there was an interview with Fear Dragon that the StarCraft historian did conduct, and there were also some Star Zagora interviews as well. So next week, we'll be able to go a little bit more in-depth into those interviews and discuss them here on the podcast. Again, we did skip out on them just because we're a little bit strapped for time. As we have to get ready for OSC King of the Hill. Meanwhile, if you want to support us here on the CranKy Ducklings, you can do so via Patreon, !Patreon in the chat, and you can help fund the Ducklings. I say that 100% of the money on Patreon goes towards our tournaments. It all goes towards Sparkling Tuning Cup, Sea Duckling Open, and Master Swan Open as well. So you can support us via Patreon if you wish. Otherwise, you can support us by following. You can follow us on Twitch. You can subscribe on YouTube. We do stream every single day. And today we have 3 streams. We were just live with the GSL playoffs. Here we're live with the PondCast. And in half an hour, we're live with King of the Hill. So plenty of content here on the CranKy Ducklings. We're live every single day, multiple times a day. We've been a little bit leaner this week just because of RSL. But we'll be getting back on that horse next week. Plenty of content, plenty of StarCraft. Otherwise, you can also check out our sign-up list, !signups in the chat, or sign-up list, and you'll get a link to the sign-ups of all these tournaments. Again, we still have many more weeklies ahead of us. Home Story Cup is right around the corner. I don't think there's a qualifier for that, but if there ever is a qualifier, then I guess that'll be available if there is one. There's a lot on the horizon here. Not just EWC qualifiers. We have the Brazilian Soccer Circuit that's also this weekend. And of course, our regular weekly tournaments as well, as we near ever closer to the Esports World Cup, as that is going to be in 2 weeks. 2 weeks' time is Esports World Cup. We're closing in. We are closing in. Otherwise, thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in. We do appreciate it. No bracket gaming. True. It's crazy. EWC is in a couple of days and there's no bracket. It's kind of crazy, but We'll get there. We'll get there. Otherwise, thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in. Again, we're going to be back in half an hour with OSC King of the Hill. So wish us luck as we have to wrap up and get ready for the next cast. Otherwise, thanks for watching, and do support and check out the RSL. Again, they're currently live. They're currently ongoing. So do check them out. Do support them as we're wrapping up for the evening. Thanks for watching. A big shout to Kura. Big shout to Kura for handling the production and for stepping in every now and then to give her own thoughts as well. And of course, check out, or you can also support us on Twitter. We're on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Discord. All things CranKy Ducklings. We'll see you next week for some more podcasts. We'll see you in half an hour for OSC King of the Hill. See you then.